live. Oh dear. Yes, it started with a lovely bunch of coconuts. You're welcome. That will be the audio test for today. I hope you can hear us loud and clear. I'm Mike, he's Jan. Welcome. I have had hiccups now for the last 2 days, and several hours of both days have been spent hiccuping. I went to have a lie down before the stream, and they seem to have subsided, but if they do start, we might have to end the stream a little bit early. But we've got lots to show you today, because Jan's been busy developing
and
the action RPG.
Busy developing and trying to find my passport for a week, which I finally did this morning, which was amazing. Yes, I am very sorry about your hiccups, and also slightly hoping they come back at the end of the stream so people can hear them and see that we're not making them up, but not very much hoping that, because I don't actually want you to be in discomfort.
I had a conversation with Jan earlier today, and it was once every 3 seconds or so.
I was holding this USB thing and pressing it every 3 seconds, pretending I was electrocuting him. He just It was great.
I do hope it comes back, but only for a short while, because it is after the whole day.
I hope it doesn't, but I also hope it does. Hello, Melicon. Hello, Roderick. It's wonderful to see your names over there. I can't actually see you. I can see Mikey.
Yes, we don't have access to your webcams. Don't worry. Not yet, anyway.
So, yes, we have a first pass. I mean, it's a lot of work to do on it. On a new system for the Your Action RPG courses, particularly the Godot and Blender courses. As one of the stretch goals was about character classes, I started doing some work on them. So at the moment, and Mikey will show you this in a moment, you can play, when you start the game, you get to pick your class, and you can pick a warrior, an explorer, or a mage. And I've changed their stats a little bit, so some have more health and they have different health and stamina, and each one can use a different weapon. So the warrior can use two-handed weapons and only two-handed weapons. Can't equip the other ones, except for one small bug when you can. The explorer can use one-handed weapons, and the mage can use the only magical item in the game, because I haven't made more yet. Trying to get the thing to work, and remembering how it's set up items in GUI, and getting that to work in a different way, and then adding in a magic-using NPC class.
Yes.
So, would you like to show what we have?
I would indeed. Hold your horses. If I click this button here and push this one here, Jan should be able to see what I'm doing.
I can. We also have the ability to type your character's name in, which currently does nothing at all.
But obviously later on it could come into dialogues or anything along those lines.
I mean, so the idea is, once we start making this more of a roguelike, you'll get randomized characters and have to pick between them. What kind of character are you going to be making?
I'm going to be a daring explorer.
A daring explorer. So I've tweaked the looks of each of them to make them look unique. So different armor. Arya is now blonde, which is an explorer. She doesn't have shoulder pads.
Yes, this is just an affordance to make sure we know which character we're supposed to be playing.
Yeah, and also to make them feel a little bit different.
So let's venture down into the dungeon where those baddies are.
Mm-hmm.
So down in here, we've got, obviously this is a starting area. Inside here we have 3 weapons. But I can equip single-handed things.
Yeah.
I can take these other things, but I cannot equip them.
Correct. You can sell them, however.
Yes.
You also have a small chance of meeting magic-using skeletons.
A small chance being 2/3 at this point in time.
No, on my version it's, I think, 10%.
I'm just unlucky at this point in time. So these skeletons can indeed do a lot of damage to the other skeleton. And dodge. So now there's a reason to use that dodge key.
Yes, the skeleton has a different AI. It doesn't try and close the distance.
And I should have used the other attack.
I've also tweaked the difficulty. Yeah.
Oh,
so now there is a reason to strategy.
This might have remembered my preferences from last time.
Maybe.
And it's interesting now that we've got this new mechanic in there. There is a need to actually start back at the dungeon.
Yes.
Whereas before we got the feedback, oh, we don't want to restart the dungeon all the time. But now there's actually a reason to start back at the dungeon, so you don't have to do that walk from the house. There we go. So none of these have hats.
The witchy hat.
Yeah.
I put the witchy hat on just so you could see it. Also, I made a witchy hat, and Michael said, "Why is she wearing a traffic cone?" And I said, "Because you haven't created a witchy hat." I've also given these guys more hit points.
I've noticed. Let's put that weapon away. You've made the game actually a bit challenging.
Yeah, I need to figure out what that bug is, because there is a health potion in there, but
have to go away and back again. Yep.
Yeah.
Nothing to see here, boss. Nah.
Nice.
Ow.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what you thought was going to happen there.
Not find a path to me and just stand there. I was wrong.
Arya is now Aryan. I mean, possibly. I mean, she could be Slavic. I don't know.
Yes, I used to be able to just right-click and kill all of these. Now they're a challenge.
Well, they got set to a much lower difficulty level as a test. And sort of left there. Now, the mage on the other... So, the explorer has very good stamina and sort of middling health. The mage has very bad health and not great stamina. Does a lot of range damage. The warrior doesn't have a fantastic stamina, but has very good health. And, of course, the two-handed weapon can do some serious damage.
Oh, this... Couldn't roll away.
Yeah.
Let's go in as a different character. So let's go back to the main menu. This time I'm going to be the mage.
Okay. Venture forth.
So yeah, I wonder, because when I was playing this before, I found the traffic cone. I found the...
That is a legit magic hat.
It's good. I like it.
I mean, it took me 30 seconds in Blender. Like... Until Mikey can make me the assets. That's what I'm using.
Sounds good to me. So now I need a... Is this a scepter?
Yep. Oh, there's a mage over there. We can get some mage wars going. Probably help if you actually hit it.
Nah. But now I can spam from a distance. From a distance.
Yeah, it'll work great. Oh, you're lucky that one bugged out.
Yes. Some of them don't engage, do they? Occasionally.
Not straight away. It takes them a few seconds. I'm not sure why. Now, if you don't have stamina, you can't attack. Which means if you start rolling, you could be in trouble.
Again, this class of character is all about holding them off at a distance. Hello. Because I can be damaged.
You don't want to be doing this because you can take damage from your own blasts.
Yes. In fact,
but my plan is to make a bunch of different weapons, each of which has a different kind of attack.
I like the black hole attack we were discussing the other day. This room is full of skellies.
I'd say heavy attack, but you've just used half your stamina, so you can't.
I forgot about the heavy attack. Just for you. Oh, I knocked these off the shelf. I'm going to want those.
Yep.
So when I was playing this the other day, I totally forgot about having the secondary attack. I didn't use it once. Silly me.
Yep.
Let's go use it. Or rather, abuse it.
I did say she has less stamina. And of course, if you sprint into a room, you can't use your heavy attack straight away. You have to load it up.
This is very, very true. So I've not actually gone this way in a while.
Mm-hmm.
So let's give it a go today. Do I want to turn on sticky keys? No, I don't want my children anywhere near my computer. Right, let's... I can't make
I'd have put the weapon away.
I don't know. Can this character actually jump over that gap now?
Yes. Of course she can.
She failed.
I mean, maybe not while she's holding a scepter and getting ready for combat, but
maybe.
I didn't change the speed on any of them.
Maybe you're right. am dead.
Yes, so Mage Arya is more of a glass cannon, which, if you don't know the expression, is somebody who does a lot of damage but can't take any, and is usually at a distance.
Yes. I mean,
Or
this.
artillery.
So one of the things that Jan and I were talking about the other day when we were just going through this is when an enemy is hit, they should probably respond straight away rather than just...
Yeah, they should. That should switch on the AI and say, "Hey, you've now detected this person."
Right, let's put this away. There we go. I'm learning.
Yeah, because that massively increases your speed.
Hey,
Look at that, trivial.
nailed it. That was lucky.
Good use of roll. Now, of course, you've got less stamina here, so good luck.
Now, how full is this room?
Very. You're on maximum difficulty, I think.
Hi, guys. What's the range on this? Oh, pretty
Easy
good.
enough to cover this room. It's like a room and a quarter, or a room and a half, currently.
Oh, hello. Bit overkill.
Yeah, this is not balanced.
But still, in fact, I've come to there's no benefit to being in this room other than...
If you're wondering why that attack didn't trigger, it's because it takes all of your stamina, and Mikey had no stamina.
Yes. Now
The stamina potions are now really useful for a mage.
Of course, what we're doing here is
Put the
keeping
weapon
the
away.
stamina potion. Of course. La 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 la. The stamina potion stands in for multiple things. So for a mage, it would be the mana equivalent to most other games.
Well, like in real life, magic takes a lot of stamina.
Exactly. Last time I tried to conjure it, something.
I got very tired.
No, I pressed the wrong key.
Nailed it.
Well, I can nail them both. There we go.
I do like that fireball.
Oh, some gold bars. I can pretend to be a skelly and sneak up. Glass sword that I can't use.
Yep.
Oh, some more potions, so I can rekindle. And off we
And
go.
a spare bob.
How much can I get for these? More upstairs, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Open your inventory.
I've been playing another game recently. I've just been pressing E. I'm like, why is this not working again?
No, I've been doing that recently.
So that gold bar is worth.
I was playing this the other day and holding control and nothing was happening. It's like, why can't I see the outlines? Right, because this isn't Hitman 2.
Gotcha. Sell. Oh, is there a better? Oh, it's random, isn't it? So no, there won't be.
But there is another stamina potion in there you could buy. There's only one magic weapon in the game right now.
Yeah. But yeah, I can actually use the shop for its intended purpose.
That's right, for all intents and purposes.
So let's go get this bad guy.
That was actually a phrase I got when I was an adjunct professor in New Jersey. Someone wrote, for all intents and purposes.
You shouldn't allow Siri to do dictation for your finals.
It's better than the one I got that actually ended with, sent from my iPhone.
This is true.
Did you like that?
Uh-oh.
Oh, you used up all your stamina first, you muppet!
I do like being OP sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if using it all up meant that you couldn't move, I think this would be less easy to cheese. And hey, that's much more deadly than it used to be. Or I have less.
Half the health, yeah.
I have half the health. That's how I end this all the time.
So that's our preliminary look at the idea of classes. And really, I'm playing with a few things. It should change the appearance, specifically what types of armor show up and what color palette we're using. At the moment, I'm just using a simple palette swap. I have had a long chat with Mikey about the kind of assets we're going to need. It changes your stamina and your health. I've made a decision not to change speed, although we could. and it changes what weapon you can use. Now, as we move into roguelike, we could tweak those statistics. So we could say you could pick one of these three. Two of them are warriors. This one has slightly more health, and this one has slightly more stamina.
Yeah. I mean, it will often depend whether you want those choices to be meaningful in the game or it's just a variation on a character.
Yeah. And if it's a roguelite, we'll need some sort of ongoing progression that you can buy for future characters. So upgrades to your house or your town or whatever it is. For example, upgrades to the shops, new weapons being unlocked, new classes being unlocked.
And watching out for scope creep because it's a course, not a game.
Right, but if we're teaching a roguelike, we will have to teach
it's
that
part
kind
of the process,
structure.
Definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, that's forgot. But no,
not quite. Yeah, I mean, bringing classes into the game has definitely reignited.
You actually didn't try the warrior class.
I didn't try the warrior class
because warrior versus mage is an interesting battle.
And when I was testing it, I turned the statistics so that the probability of mages was 100%. I just couldn't come near with the heavy weapon. Yeah, every time, not a chance. There might be a chance if I could skelly my way in with a invisibility potion or disguise potion.
Warriors can use their heavy attack if they have no stamina. Or if they have low stamina, not no stamina. So you can roll in and use it. But the cool-up is quite big. Or the wind-up is quite big. But your health is almost double what a mage's is.
But it still didn't help me, because there were lots
I've tweaked it since then.
Oh. I should give that a go later on.
You should.
Definitely.
But yeah, I found it actually changes the way the game feels quite a lot, because you're having to get moment-to-moment gameplay decisions that we weren't doing before. Having a ranged character turn up and fight you like a ranged NPC or a chance of it means when you go into a room, you now have to check what is in this room. And I'd like to get a few more enemy types with a few different AI rules in there.
Yeah, one of the things I remember vividly when playing the warrior class is I made a lot more use of dodging and rolling, which is something that I really didn't need before, so didn't use it.
Well, originally, you could just walk backwards and swing your sword and they would line up for you.
Yes. But now they're not there. I have to go to them, which is half the problem.
I mean, there's a few easy NPCs I could make pretty quickly. One is a sprinter that can explode. But when it explodes, it stops in place, builds up, and then explodes.
You get to scale it. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Or change color or something, which means you can use that strategically. You can get blindsided.
That reminds me of why
am I playing with this pen?
I don't know. What's the game that we played briefly with the ships?
Barotrauma?
Nope.
Atlas?
Nope. The other one. The pirate one, you go around, you get treasure. I can't remember it.
Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves. Like the skeletons that are holding the big red barrel. Those ones, when you hit, boom. Yeah, that would work, and I don't know whether that would. What you never want to do is annoy the player. You want to present them with a different challenge, and if you've just got a suicidal skeleton running at you, that is.
Well, now that I've got NPC classes in there, because the magic using NPC, the Mage Skelly, is a different class. It has it's almost the same with different health and stamina, because it follows the same stamina rules you do, but it's deciding it's in attack range at a different point. So I've changed the behavior tree so that when it's within, I think, 8 meters, it's decided it's close enough to attack.
Yeah.
Whereas the sword wielding ones have to be within a meter.
I suppose you could make it so when you hit the bomb wielding one, that it reduced its timer or something, or not reduced its timer, but extended its timer again until you knocked it out. We've got barrel assets, so we can just put a little skull.
Well, we don't have an animation of a thing holding it, but it could be a floaty skull. We've done that before.
Isn't that a Doom thing? The floating skulls.
Or rolling skull, then.
Oh, those little ones that roll in and just go poof, but they cause a little bit of damage, but are annoying. I don't know how you would
Little
attack
ones
them.
that roll in and have a fuse. And they roll in, stop, and the fuse lights.
By the way, this is the sort of conversation that Jan and I often have off stream.
Yeah. Do you like my fuse graphic?
Yes. I don't know how you particle effect.
Yeah. Easy enough.
Okay.
I mean, the way I'd do it was I'd have the fuse as a separate mesh of just a cylinder with a particle
scale
emitter
it,
at the
couldn't
top. No, I'd move it into the skull.
That also works. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what would be more costly, whether translating or well, both are transforms. So, who knows?
Why scale something with a particle effect on it? I don't know how scale would affect that.
That's true. Translating it wouldn't affect it. There we go. We probably solved
Or you could do the old Screaming Skull cannon from Doom as a spell. So Mikey and I were talking about
if you were a necromancer, that would work really well.
We could add more classes, like the system is in there. But I'm thinking different magical weapons have different attacks.
Yeah.
So you'll start off with a much weaker magical weapon. It'll have a different ranged attack, and your projectiles will behave a little differently. Maybe they'll bounce, maybe they'll go in a straight line. But in theory, we can make a bunch of different ones that do things like chain lightning effect. Or the black hole attack, where it sucks all rigid and physics bodies within range to a point.
Or even towards you, which would actually be if you were sort of a battle mage, that would be really useful.
A flamethrower wand instead of a fireball wand. Yeah. Very short range cone.
Mm-hmm. As long as you bring them in to be attacked.
Yep. So there's lots of things we can do there. It was more trying to get the bugs out of the way, because we had one where when Mikey first tried it, if you switched the weapon out and put it back into your inventory, the game crashed.
Yeah, I thought I was going to start hiccuping then for a moment.
Do you want to try the warrior before you hiccup?
Yes, yeah, let's give the warrior a go. Let me launch it. My buttons. Where have my buttons gone?
So Mikey and I also talked a bit about different NPCs for the asset packs that we reached. And different player assets, because we have to deal with character customization.
Yes, the way that we're going to
wearable armor and wearable clothing. So we have to isolate what that means. How many pieces are we talking about? Is it going to be one piece or two pieces, or is it the full set? Spoiler alert: probably won't be the full set, because you don't need to learn each piece separately. Like, it's one learning journey.
That's true. That's true. Once you've done it for one, you should be able to do it.
I mean, theoretically two, so you could check that they're not conflicting, but.
Right, so
the game.
A fearless mage.
My name is Michaela.
That'll do.
Yeah. She's very shiny.
She is very
I
shiny.
miss moving the camera and seeing the front of your character. I know I'm the only person who misses this, but.
Well, we could map it. You couldn't you? You could map it to a hotkey like control or something to move the camera independently to the character controller. There's lots of
I'm
options.
also looking forward to moving to Godot 4 so we can start having procedural generation with navigation.
That sounds like a mouthful. Try saying that 5 times quick.
That 5 times quick.
Well done.
Thank you.
So if I begin the swing and then let the... Oh, no, it takes 3 now. Okay. So
yeah, they had 10 health before.
What do they have now?
100. Or 75. One of those two.
Right, so I'll do this, and then what? I don't know if this will take them out. Yes. I do like that particle effect.
It's fun to make.
Uh-oh. Ow.
Okay, mages.
I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to cheese, because that, although it's a valid tactic,
Splat. Very nice. So there, the skeleton ran out of stamina.
Oh, yeah, you take out your buddies.
Nice dodge.
Well, that's the thing, you see. With this, it's suddenly I can move away. All of their damage is from their mage. Oh, wow. Okay.
You've got much higher health now as well. Like,
That's not
that high.
Oh, I'm within their attack radius by the looks of things. Or they ran out of stamina again, one or the other.
They ran out of stamina.
Right.
They don't have a minimum range. They will blow themselves up. They're only skeletons.
Not very intelligent then.
Well, if we start adding in things like, I don't know, orcs or goblins or whatever, I can start saying if you're within minimum range or your health is too low, run to safety. Whatever safety means.
Yeah, that's the challenging thing because you don't want them to appear really stupid and just back into a wall.
Ooh, new two-handed weapon.
Oh, I can use that. I forgot which character I was playing. So battle axe, 20 damage. This, 20 damage. I want to play with the battle axe just because I've not wielded one in a while. I had a lot of fun making these weapons. So the other thing that Jan and I were talking about earlier in the week, towards the end of last week actually, was the procedural way we're going to put the weapons together.
Yeah, the modular weapons in Godot. Splat.
We've got a few things to play with, so we can work out how.
I think there might be a stun lock on these weapons as well. I'm not sure.
That would explain why they just stood there. So how would we give the affordance of that? I mean, we could do the age-old sort of cartoon effect with stars
or bubbles or something. We don't have a special animation for that, and we don't have one budgeted at the moment. You could also get the fire axe if you wanted.
I'm not going to risk falling into the pit. Why did I do that?
No idea.
I know all the keys. And if you begin attacking before they arrive, you can hit them on the way in.
It's always humbling watching a master at work.
Oh, I've run out of stamina. I can't dodge. That's it. You hit your mate.
An undead human shield, huh?
Yep. Oh, no. No, I wasn't watching my health. Yeah.
Yep.
I used it on the way in when I didn't need to.
But doesn't she feel different?
Yeah, completely different play style. It's really opened up the game in terms of...
I mean, there's things we could do, like change how far they can dodge and all the rest of it. I'm not sure they're needed.
Well, at that point, you start getting to... We're tweaking a game. And
when we start moving to roguelike territory, I think each character should have, like, a small range that it can be within.
Yeah.
So dodge speed is between 0.8 and 1.2. Like pick a float in there.
Yeah.
So they feel a little bit different. And then when that character dies, you get the next character. And you pick between one of these three. You don't get all the information in, but you get enough to make an idea.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So lots of variations. And again, it's bringing the game
modular thingamies?
Modular thingamies. Weapons?
Yes, weapons.
So yeah, there's a couple of different ways that we're going to approach the weapons, because on the first side you've got it where the artist themselves is the one setting and calibrating the weapons and putting them together. And then on the flip side, and there'll be a course for both these approaches, you've got here are the raw ingredients, now put them together in Godot, which is going to be a lot more useful for the roguelite elements when you've got just different weapons. Is that right? Roguelite?
There's roguelite and there's roguelike.
I get confused. I would have probably just said roguelike all the time. But anyway, where the random weapons happen in the game, where you just pick something out of a chest, there were a couple of things that we were discussing when it comes to how does this all mesh together? How do you see what the weapon is in the UI? it doesn't actually
Yeah.
have to
So
look
the
the same,
first
does
problem
it?
is intriguing because it's, you need to have the origin of each point in a way that it'll click together.
Or some other mechanism of clipping them
Right.
together.
And then from there, you can apply materials and particle effects if you need to, and stats, and then give it a name from a list or whatever, and you're fine. You're good to go. So if it's not a magical weapon, or if it doesn't have a particle effect like the flaming sword does, then it's a two-handed weapon. So it can pick from these names, and it's a sword or an axe, and it's made of this material. So run an algorithm. This is a golden great axe. This is a shining great sword. This is a double-handed.
Well, that's another example.
Iron battle axe.
It's not just the weapon being created; it's the name being applied. So
Right.
perhaps you can have parameters when it's got the name gold in it, it picks a golden material, maybe one of 3 different, shiny, less shiny, and not shiny.
Right. And then you could put complex or some simple rules in there. And then if it's a magical item with the dogs in the neighborhood, if it's a magical item and it has a fire effect, here's your fire names that you could pick from, right? So it could be called the Flaming Great Axe, it could be called the Barbecuer, it could be called Flaminator +2, it could be called
Lots
I
of
can't believe
options,
it.
yeah.
Right. So that's one thing. But the other thing is you need to see it in the UI. And we're generating these weapons, and they have to look recognizable.
And
I can't pick up 7 of these and not know which one I want to keep.
Yeah.
And going through and equipping them and closing it and looking and opening is not a good experience. So do we, 1, create a scene for each weapon with a camera and use that? That seems really expensive.
I would also say with that option that for something like a broadsword, you're going to get this generic sword-looking shape unless there's something specific about it. And with a dagger, you'll see much more of the weapon. So I think really focusing in on a critical part of the weapon and maybe even designing them with the idea that the hilt and that area.
The other idea, and this is going to take some practice and some investigation to even see how feasible it is, but there is an image class in Godot.
Mm-hmm.
So what if each piece that Mikey gives me has an associated cat making a noise in the bathroom? No, has an associated graphic that goes with it in the right place. So, for instance, if it's a great sword, then it's always going to have a hilt. It's always going to have the guard. It's always going to have the blade in shot. You won't see the whole thing, but you'll see those 3 like there, and they're always going to be in the same position. And then what we do is get which ones are we using. Is there any special effect at the background? So that's 4 pieces of information we need. Then we need to know what the materials are. So we're going to apply some sort of modulate on each layer, depending on what it is. And then can we use the image class to make that a single PNG?
It's possible.
Maybe.
And that's what we need to explore. And of course, we want to explore this in depth before doing the UI course because it would dramatically impact on how we're creating those UI elements.
Right, because now we're designing it modular UI.
Yeah, essentially. Or certainly for the weapons, for other icons, then it won't be like that. But we need to make sure it works.
You'll notice I've changed which pen I'm playing with. This is why I don't keep pens on my desk.
You're just practicing your magic spells. It's fine. And for his next party trick,
I am the walrus.
Cuckoo.
We were discussing, yes, Cuckoo could choose, right. We were discussing different NPC types.
Yes.
So not just like skeleton in the hat, skeleton that explodes, skeleton that's faster, skeleton that's annoying, skeleton that's palette shifted. We were talking about, okay, so we're going to have different kind of NPCs. What kind should we have? We have a list of possibilities.
Yes.
None of these are final, but there are some fun ones in there that I quite like.
One of the things we have decided, and again, this is something that you would make the decision of when you were putting together a game anyway, is to use an NPC they're all roughly the same size. So they're all going to be using the same underlying rig that Arya uses with the same animations, so we can toggle those on and off. So we can actually have enemies that will be able to dodge because that's already part of that rig. Now, there is a thing called retargeting where you can retarget animations to a different rig. However, that doesn't exist in Godot as it currently is. We've had a look around and there are some plugins that can do it, but they've got bugs from what I understand.
And we'd have to do it in Godot 4. So the alternative would
This
be
is
we'd
also
have to
true.
make a new rig and animation set for every different creature.
Yes.
Which you could do if you're
Yes.
doing an indie game. That's the thing you could do. But for our purposes, that's just a lot of extra work for no extra benefit. Like, you're not going to learn anything new from that.
No, that's just having a different list of animations and putting together an animation tree with all of those new animations in. But they're all the same animations, they're just at a different size.
And that's just the Godot one, but from the Blender point of view, like that's
in Blender, retargeting is a little bit easier. The tools have that functionality in there, but it's still a little bit of a challenge because you end up with your mesh stretching oddly and things like that. So we'll have a quick look at retargeting. It's a relatively straightforward process in Blender. But again, going over to the game itself, it doesn't add any value because then we've just got to reassign all the same things again. But the ideas we've got for NPCs, obviously we've got the skeleton, we've got a vampire, and I should mention at this point in time we're not that constrained when it comes to the thickness of our characters. To a point, obviously they've got arms, thick with 2 C's, but yes, thick. He's a thick boy. So,
I'm a child.
So yeah, it's mainly just making sure that the character fits within the bones of the other character. Goblin, and we've got some other NPCs. It's not just about enemies. It's things like the shopkeeper, maybe having a priest or to heal you. That would be a great example of the use of the priest.
And an occultist, which is an NPC priest that hurts you.
Yep. Maybe even heals the enemies and anyway. So werewolf would be fun to make. A golem, blacksmith, orc. I might have mentioned because I've got this in a list, but I've just picked them at random, so now I don't know whether I've mentioned them or not. Skilled. I think I've gone through them all anyway.
But the nice thing is, if we use the same animations, if for some reason we decide that we need a blacksmith hammering animation, we could also have that as an NPC.
Totally, a bespoke animation for a individual character is absolutely fine.
For an enemy, can now access that. So if we wanted to, we could have a goblin with a hammer. It's a one-handed weapon or a two-handed weapon.
Yeah.
But when you enter the room, they're by a forge. They know they've got a hammer. Clonk, 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 clonk. Like, that's an easy little check you could make.
Yeah. We did scope creep a little bit. I do want to tell them about this because it was just a little bit. Hang on a minute. It's that much of a little bit.
I think you should tell them about it because I don't know which particular scope creep you're talking about.
Ah, yes. The one where I was talking about having a cutscene. Where you pause the player movement and have a little cutscene going on. And Jan very kindly pointed out that, Mike, have you got the time to do that animation? I was like, what about the voice acting? And the Foley required. Okay.
Tell them the animation you were thinking of, though.
I can't remember.
You said there's a little cutscene.
Okay, it wasn't that little, was it? But I can't remember the details.
It was like a vignette where you walk in and there's two skeletons having a conversation and they've got bespoke animations and they're talking about things and they're wandering off and doing stuff. Like, I mean, I like Hitman 2. I don't think we have the time and the money to make a dungeon version of it.
Well, I wish I could remember the details. It was full of skelly puns anyway.
It was full of skelly puns. I keep mentioning Hitman 2 because I've been playing it this week. I know Hitman 3 is out, but it's not yet out on Steam, although I'm thinking it will be out around January or so because it's been out for almost a year now on Epic, and I believe it's a year exclusive that company signed with them.
All right, okay. I didn't know about that. I was playing Crying Sons. Have you played that?
What did you do to your poor child?
I think it's called Crying Sons. I'm going to have to quote. Yeah, Crying Sons. So
poor William sitting there going, ah!
So I had no idea what it was like, but I really loved the cover art.
What are you talking about?
The game.
What is this game?
The game, Crying Sons.
What is it? Is cat.
Google is your friend.
I'm doing it. Tactical roguelite that puts you in the... Oh, okay. You've been playing roguelites.
I didn't know. I didn't realize. I thought this game. I bought it because the cover art looked cool, and it was like £6 or something.
Oh yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
very much in the vein of FTL, and I didn't realize that at first. It's like FTL but with a story as well, and it's weird. I'm not a big reader when it comes to those sort of games that go blah, 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 blah. I usually find them quite annoying.
Well, that's mostly because you make that noise whenever you're reading.
No, they do. They
Like
do.
I find that annoying. Like I'll say, Mikey, what do you think of this? And he'll go, I can't follow it. There's a noise.
No, that's just Siri. Siri never understands what I'm saying. Yes, I was playing this and I was like, this is actually quite a bit of fun. And it reminded me so much of FTL. I was just playing FTL again, which I really liked. And again, I didn't realise that was a roguelike, but there we go.
Well, it is. There's a lot of random elements. There's a random path.
Yeah.
You never know quite where you get. There's stuff to unlock.
Yeah.
And you can unlock your progress as you go. Yeah.
I felt much more in control of this one, so I don't think it has the depth.
I mean, the problem I have with FTL is it is heavily skewed against the player.
Yes.
Like, it's really hard to win a round of FTL.
Yeah, I've had some rounds where I can't remember.
I've got
one of the
to the final ship.
Yeah.
And I've almost taken it down, and then I've died one time. Like, it's fine, but there comes a point where it's just punishing.
There are some playthroughs where you get something on like the second planet jump, and you're like, oh, well, this round's going to be a lot easier.
It's very much the experience of a rogue or a roguelike. They're not supposed to be fair, but you get better either through your own skills or the things you've unlocked. Yeah. As you progress. And the first time you play it, you get mullered.
It's interesting because I enjoyed FTL, but I did not like those elements when it came to I'm being rubbish with names. RimWorld. When I was playing RimWorld and these random things happened, like a rat came in whilst there was a psychic drone.
RimWorld isn't a roguelike.
No.
Because it doesn't have that kind of progression.
And it's perhaps
story generator.
Yeah, those random elements felt bizarre.
You have to go into a RimWorld seeing how this cool idea for a colony you've just come up with is going to fall apart and the disaster it's going to have. If that's what you're looking for, it's a great.
Again, perhaps my misunderstanding of the game because how's this colony going to survive wasn't my plan.
That's how I play it, and I have the same problem. Like I have fun for about a day or two. Where it's just like. Now I've got to reload it, or do a cheat code or something. I would argue it's actually best played not so much as a game, but as a toolbox, and I hate distinctions like that. Or a toy box, or an ant farm or something, or a sandbox, where you're just seeing the fun ways can go wrong and the ways that characters can develop like weird rivalries.
But I get that with games like Kerbal Space Program, where if you actually play it if you like play it properly, you can get to a dead end where you can't afford to get the next thing to do the next thing, and you can end up in this sort of this dead end. But I suppose it's because I feel I've got more affordance in that there's a direct link, whereas with something rolling the dice in the background, I feel that lack of control.
Well, random can be very, very good. Yeah. Payday 2 is a great example of this with the semi-randomized maps.
That's great for playthrough.
It's great for playthrough, but it also means like the first bank you hit, there's some layouts that you can easily solo on stealth and not raise the alarm, and there's some where it's just not feasible.
Looks like we're going to use a rocket launcher.
Wrong position, you have to go in loud.
Yeah.
Or I was playing with one crew and I was teaching them how to do that level stealthy. It was like, okay, we're all going in suits. Minimal armor. You weren't there this time, so you didn't ruin it. We're going to use only silenced weapons. We're going in suits, and one guy's like, "I'm taking my armored vest." It's like they'll see you a mile away. You're going to raise the alarm, so I'll stay on the roof. It's fine. Great. So we're all going through. There's 3 of us on the ground floor. He's up on the roof, just pootling around, and we're going through sneaky. And suddenly he falls through the window into the middle of the room, and all the NPCs stop and look at him, and I say, "Go loud now." And we kill everyone in the bank within 3 seconds, and no one could press the alarm. We're just very quiet. It was like, are we badasses?
Everybody was just standing in the right place to get nailed.
Right. Well, it's just we had that moment of panic, and we were able to go, okay, we've got this layout that works here, but we can roll with it, we can adapt, and that can work really fun, right? Where you've got enough variables like that, or an NPC weren't expecting, or this time, the key's in a different place. That can work really well for those kinds of games.
Yeah, I don't mind a little bit of a search for something randomly placed.
Yeah. I do think you should play some more roguelikes. Rogue Legacy 2 is a lot of fun. Noita is a great example. Both very hard games.
Noita amused me so much. I don't know what it's called, a boomerang wand. I was like, does this do what I think it does? Fire. Boom. It was a massive explosion.
I had a boomerang explosion wand. It's like, what am I going to use this for?
It turns out you can attack yourself with it.
Hooray!
Only 3 uses. I'll give this a go. Then bang. But I love the way that the terrain deforms and smoke rises and all the. It's got this physical element system in it, a bit like Teardown. I've played a bit of Teardown recently, and that's been a lot.
I tried playing Teardown because they've just added the last chapter, and I can't because the Steam Proton isn't stable for Teardown. It's great for every other game I've tried it on, but it will crash to desktop randomly.
That sucks. And you don't want that game to crash to desktop randomly.
Well, like 90% of the time I try and load a level, it crashes to desktop. And then at any point, it can crash to desktop. At which point...
Not in a game where you spend half an hour planning your route and everything, and then you...
Right, and then suddenly you've lost the whole thing, you've got to start over again.
Yeah.
So that's a pity, because I really like Teardown. We played another game a couple of weeks back. We played Barotrauma.
Yes. And I was testing out systems.
It was actually... We did pretty well, considering the amount of disaster. For those of you who don't know, Barotrauma is a very interesting game using... sort of paper cut animation, and it's a spiritual successor to a lot of games, but a lot of influences from Space Station 13. If you've heard of Space Station 13, if you've played it, you've probably had two reactions. One is ooh, and the other is, but the curse of Space Station 13. They seem to have solved it. They have a working game that's been in early access for over a year now. And we were playing, there was two of us and our friend Durgan. And we were on a ship together, and we had a few NPC crewmates, including an NPC medic who was beyond useless.
The AI there was not useful.
Any of the medicine. It's like, I need morphine. It's like, it's in the cupboard next to you. I've used the morphine. I need more morphine. I'm like, anyway, we had this moment where we stopped the sub by a little beacon. We have to switch on the beacon to make it travel easier. We'll get a little bit extra points. It's not even our main mission.
Yeah.
So we swim off and we do that. And we do it pretty well. I mean, Mikey does weld the back of my head. So I end up with massive burn marks down my spine and back. But, apart from that, it goes great. We get back to the ship and everyone's dead except for this medic. The ship is flooded and it's full of monsters.
Yep.
Which we then spend... time trying to clear out, which involves Durgan shooting me in the back of the head. Everyone else, like Durgan dies and comes back at full health, and I spend the entire rest of the game heavily injured.
But yeah, we managed to get everything.
And the sub is completely wrecked. Right? There's holes everywhere. It's full of water. None of the pumps working. The reactor's gone down. Not as bad as the time that Mikey tried to help me with the reactor.
We need to tell them about that.
We will tell them about that. And we spend an hour getting the sub, and we're running out of air. We have no oxygen tanks left. Like, we're in real trouble. I'm getting pressure sickness. And somehow we managed to plug enough holes and fix in enough electrical systems without electrocuting ourselves too badly, except for Mikey, who wasn't an electrical engineer and was helping, but he was shocking himself. So he was taking damage. We managed to get the pumps working. And we're like, do we go to the next mission? I think we head to base.
We've got we need to resupply.
We need more people. Do you want to tell them about the...
So the reactor.
I was outside the ship.
You were outside the ship repairing it for some other...
Ran out of fuel.
so none of the electrics are working. Jan goes, Mike, can you put a fuel cell in the reactor? I walk along, I go to the cupboard. Oh, look, there are 4 cells here. I remember there being 4 slots in the reactor. If I put all 4 in, that will mean that we don't run out for a while. So I go to the reactor, I put all 4 in. Now, I didn't bother reading the tutorial that I just clicked straight through. And before I can leave the reactor, Jan's going, Mike, what's going on? And I'm on fire. I've immediately burst into flames as the reactor has overheated.
I just get a message saying Mikey is dead. I'm like, Mike, what happened?
You thought originally it was because I didn't have the skill set to use the reactor properly.
Yeah, I thought it was an accident.
Turns out that I genuinely did.
Durgan goes in with a little fire extinguisher, like a handheld thing.
He opens
the thing and this wall of fire engulfs him and kills him.
Yeah, he opens the door going, the whole thing's on fire.
Room.
Jan, this is on you. I was helping. Mike, why are there... And then Durgan's like, yeah, it says in the tutorial to only put 1 in at a time. It's like,
don't overheat the reactor.
What tutorial? I'm helping. Fun. And then at the end, just as we're finishing off, I've been playing with the electrics just to see what I can learn from it. And I was like, what does this button do? And I'd wired all the doors, and including the external one, to open. I was like, I was quite proud of that. Open.
Yeah, no, I thought he was trolling. It turns out he was actually doing science. I made the mistake of experimenting as an electrical engineer with the lights and realized we could change the color and light settings. So Mikey went round and made everything super bright. It's like, ow.
I can see it here.
So TLDR, really interesting game.
Yeah.
Lots of random elements, very Space Station 13, including the clowns and the rubber hammer. I really enjoyed it. Mikey seemed to really enjoy it. Durgan was just like, yeah, I think once is enough.
Yeah, I found the ragdolling a bit... I felt the characters were very difficult to control. Things like falling down a ladder and breaking your legs just because you did something. You looked at the ladder the wrong way.
Yes, the UI is complex, but there's a lot going on in that game, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I see that things like the electrical systems themselves, I think there's no proper manual of how they work. You're supposed to learn how they work. So there's that kind of barrier to entry. If you're the sort of gamer who wants the instructions, it doesn't come with them.
I saw somebody set up something on the reactor in their sub specifically to stop the Mikey overloading the reactor problem. They wired in a bunch of sensors and a little logic gate and set up a scram system, so if the reactor gets too hot, it just shuts off all power. Like, automatically.
It sounds like something a nuclear reactor would typically come with.
I mean...
I'm a bit hot. I need cooling down. This one just went, I have a lot of fuel. You have some of my heat.
I mean, you basically force-fed it.
You're hungry, are you? You're hungry. Have some of this. Yes. Oh, dear. So that pretty much sums up our week so far.
Our 2 weeks of gaming.
Yep. I haven't hiccuped yet. I feel a little bit sad, but also glad. No doubt I'll get up at the end of the stream and start hiccuping around the house.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you weren't in pain.
Makes a change.
We do want to work on some more magic weapons and get some more spells in, some classes. Mikey's working on, well, last I heard, I'm speaking for Mikey, he should probably clarify, on modular weapon tests.
Yeah.
And then I think it's NPCs is the next priority. I'm not sure.
I'll have to look at the thing. But yeah, I will update on the blog on the website as well with where we are. We are about...
Roderick is 30.
Oh.
Okay, now we can't sing the official happy birthday song because copyright. Oh, Roderick Day, oh, Roderick Day, he has turned 30, it's his birthday.
That kind of works.
He is not green and pointy triangle. What on earth rhymes with triangle? Oh, Roderick Day, oh, Roderick Day, I'm sorry that my song doesn't rhyme or scan very well. Your turn, Mikey.
Nope, we're not taking turns.
Beat that.
I don't think I can, to be honest. Not with my throat. Oh, perfect.
Do we want to close out with one last Explorer of the Dungeon for those people who missed it at the beginning?
Yeah, sure.
While we ask if people have any questions, concerns, thoughts, concerns, or birthday songs for Roderick.
I've got to push the right buttons. Let's launch Godot.
I like your desktop.
Doop. There we go.
I'm
Awesome.
little but covered in jam. When will we start seeing the Godot Blender tutorials? Good question, Castro. We are waiting with the Godot ones for Godot 4 to be stable. And I don't mean alpha, I mean just about to launch him from beta to live. The Blender ones we should be seeing a little bit sooner. But we need to make some more assets and play around with them in Godot before we can do it. But, I mean, do you have a rough estimate, Mikey?
Now Blender 3 is out. And it's solid. I've been playing around with using the new geometry node system instead of Python scripting, which was going to be the solution we were using before. So I'm still playing around with the geometry nodes to arrange the weapon types for us. And that'll give us lots of control, which is brilliant. And obviously making sure that they can all export as well. So there very well might be scripting involved to run the geometry nodes. But still, it's really improved the way that we're able to approach randomization within there. So that'll be coming out probably January.
Very nice.
I mean, we're now coming up to the point of year where it's Christmas, isn't it?
Yep. Ahmed says, sorry for off topic. If you're a solo developer using only free and open source, Linux, Godot, Blender, etc. to make a game, how do you test your game and export it to different operating systems? Get some people who have different operating systems to playtest is the only way I can recommend it.
Yeah.
Because I used to have Windows and Linux, now I only have Linux. Mikey has Windows, I don't have access to a Mac. So usually I just have to put it out to our lifetime members and one of them will go, this doesn't run.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to, feel free to use our Discord if you need playtesters. But get a community of people or just some friends who have different operating systems and say, hey, could you playtest this for me?
Yeah,
obviously, if you have NDAs and things, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, of course. It's been the only way in which we can test out this, for instance. We can't possibly have all the possible systems. And because we're developing games, our systems are a bit better than the average. So
Well, we had a real problem with Mag Racer when we discovered that anti-aliasing.
Yep, with AMD.
Anti-aliasing and AMD cards didn't work properly on Godot. Like it was using an antiquated anti-aliasing thing. And AMD cards just made the game unplayable. The frame rate was about 5.
Yeah, of course we would have never known about that. It wouldn't matter.
I've never used an AMD chipset.
I mean, my first ever graphics card. Well, I actually had an ATI one back in the day, and then, if I remember correctly, I think it was a TNT 256 or something like that. It was the first NVIDIA card that I bought, and I'm afraid I've used NVIDIA ever since, and it's a shame because AMD does offer great value, but ultimately at the end of the day, I need something that works, and with Blender. Certainly up until very recently, I know Blender's putting a lot of effort in with AMD to have better rendering, but the way to go is NVIDIA still at the moment.
I have no problem with AMD, I'm just not used to it. Are you collecting potions?
No.
Oh, Roderick Day, oh, Roderick Day.
In fact, I just stored a potion, I think.
You did.
There we go. Oh, what's the range on this?
0 when you're out of stamina. 1.5 rooms.
Nice.
Oh no, half a room. But you got the mage.
I know, right?
I mean, at the moment, the skeletons don't use line of sight to detect as well. Nice.
Hey, I remembered if I fire this close up, I'm going to hurt. Now, the actual music for the game is, I don't know whether anybody can hear it. It's actually coming through my speakers rather than my headset. So,
Will there be another Christmas stream like last year? Loved the co-op game one. Yeah, we could do that. I forgot about that, actually.
yeah, that would be awesome.
I recently heard from a friend of mine who we used to play some co-op games with, but he went off the radar for a few months to deal with things. Sam says hi, by the way. So maybe.
That'd be
Last year we
awesome.
tried to play Twilight Imperium 4. We started a game, but we're not going to stream that because that's easily an 8 to 14 hour game.
Oh,
Oh
especially with
my
the number,
goodness, you have 2 mages.
especially with the number of players.
3 mages.
What are the odds of that?
Very
I
nice.
can cheese the system. Oh, I managed to clear out everybody but you. And of course, I'm gonna give him a chance.
Are you?
No.
I don't think you are.
Jump!
Very nice. No, it might have been last year, maybe the year before. We definitely did play some co-op games. There's plenty of co-op games we should play. I know the game I would like to play with Mikey, but he would have to get it and practice with it, and I don't think he has the time. Is Hitman 2.
Oh, I've practiced with Hitman 2. So that is the one where you don't actually play together as such. You compete for the
I
assassination.
believe so. You're competing. You can't affect each other, but you both affect the world, and you can see each other.
Yeah, yeah. So you can trip up the other person by like throwing a rock in their direction to get.
Well, the problem is if I know a level really, really well and you don't.
Yeah, I can see that being a problem.
But what it does, I believe, is it picks a random target.
No, I can see that being a lot of fun. We should totally try Tango, the Toucan Tango. Takes two. I don't know what the game's called. You know,
The Toucan Tango.
Toucan Tango. Yes.
Yep. There's a couple I was looking at.
Is it Operation Tango? I'm
It was
gonna.
Operation Tango.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
great
yeah,
though because of the different views we both have. We'd have
I
to set
think
it up.
there's yes, we would. And not cheat. We can't see each other.
Yeah, I'd have to set it up on OBS, then hide OBS out of the way.
And... I think there's new human full flat levels.
Oh, human full flat's always great. But you know the first thing I'm going to do is, Jan, edge.
Yep. I mean, Payday 2 would be fun, but I don't know if you could stream it because of the swearing. I know a game that's fun for streaming, but it's not multiplayer, which is such art.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that both looks and sounds amazing.
I don't believe it's a walking sunburn of a bird. I think it's a toucan drinking a horrible orange drink.
I mean, I think we'll get in trouble if we use that as the thumbnail. We should totally use that as the thumbnail.
There's a few games we've played before, and even a few that we haven't or we've taken a look at that might be fun. But yeah, we could look into that.
Yeah. Some competitive, some cooperative. I like the look. I'm a big Aliens fan, but I do like the look of the new. It looks a bit like XCOM in its style, but it's based in the Aliens world.
Oh, interesting. Do you think it'd be worth getting a crew together to try Barotrauma?
Yes, I think Barotrauma could be a lot of fun. Especially if I don't think it'd be as fun whilst we're still learning if a saboteur was enabled.
If you're playing the campaign game, there's just a random chance of saboteur.
Okay, gotcha. And it could be an NPC?
No.
Okay. So if
I
it's
don't know what that chance is.
If it's ever me, you'll just hear hee all the time.
Well, especially if you get the honk mother missions.
Why is the sonar on? Who's turned it on?
Yep.
I think with Barotrauma it'd be much better with 4+ people.
Yeah, definitely.
One just wouldn't work. Two is a mission because again it falls back on the AI isn't really that helpful.
You have to micromanage it.
Yeah.
Although you can switch out between the NPCs, like take control of this one and do the things.
Yeah. In the heat of action, though, when you need to man every
I
station.
still love Ark, and there's a new Ark map coming out tomorrow, but Mikey doesn't.
I don't like the download size.
Never mind the download
If
size.
I start downloading it now, it might be available for before we stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, a preliminary stream somewhat time between Christmas and New Year.
Yep.
Something like that. Well, we'll discuss and try and work out the actual time.
Yep.
Sounds good.
We should do it on the 27th because we'll both be groggy from booster shots. Everybody.
Yeah, I don't know how that'll go. Hopefully well. That's the answer.
My first COVID shot was nasty. The second one was fine.
Yeah,
I've never been as sick as the first one.
Yeah, the first one for me was okay-ish. I was a bit groggy. But I just went, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to bed.
It's a good idea.
If that's an option.
Games. I would say Hitman 2, but you'd have to spend time practicing with the levels.
I think I've got Hitman 2 as well, but I'll have to look.
I mean, I'd say Hitman 3, but I can't get it. Because there's no Proton Steam thing on Epic.
Ah, yes. Good old... I had that problem with
really
Unreal Engine and
messed around with Play on Linux. Yeah.
Always fun. Right.
All right, I say one more. Yeah, one more. Thank you for joining us, everybody. I will put up the new version tomorrow. There's a couple more bugs I want to iron out. I'll do an announcement on our Discord and on the Kickstarter, so you can play with the character classes. Thank you for coming to our party. I hope you like the jelly and the ice cream. And
I do indeed have Hitman 2, by the way. I do indeed have it.
Excellent. You still have to practice the levels, though.
Bye.
Bye. Press it.
I'll get there.
Press it.